I'm Jay Scott, INFJ educator and coach, and today we're going to be talking about INFJ weirdness. Here are 5 habits that you probably have as an INFJ that others think are downright weird. Number 1, mindful obsessing. INFJs can sometimes become fixated on certain thoughts or ideas, playing them over and over in their mind like a favorite song. They might find themselves analyzing past conversations or future possibilities in great detail, often seeking deeper meanings or hidden patterns. All of this really comes from a massive amount of skill in the area of pattern recognition. INFJs are very in touch with what's going on logically in the world. In other words, what is actually happening. But unlike many others, we are also extremely in tune with what's going on emotionally in the world. Most other types are very afraid of their emotions, and the emotions of others for that matter. INFJs don't readily share their emotions with others, but they are comfortable looking at emotional situations. And the reason we don't share things with others is probably because of the way we have seen others react when we share a deep topic with them. They do not react well. But as INFJs, we're not afraid to get philosophical. We're not afraid to get deep. Now, many INFJs have had the experience of taking someone too deep in a conversation too quickly. They just can't handle it, and you can actually feel the other person get uncomfortable. Actually, that's an understatement. The truth is, most people think even a brief, deep conversation is about on par with going to the dentist for a root canal.
Let's take a look at that mouth.
INFJs are also unique in that they can look at the state of affairs in the world at large and see where people are letting their emotions get the better of them. While many other types are vulnerable to getting involved in groupthink, the INFJ is not. The INFJ is not one to be manipulated or brainwashed. But as I said, this comes with some issues. Us INFJs can sometimes get a little bit obsessive about these patterns that we pick up, and we can get obsessive about our thoughts. We have a tendency to replay past conversations in our heads, and this can be a real problem because we wonder if we've said the right thing, if we did the right thing, what would have happened if we'd have done things differently. And we often doubt if we're really correct about an issue. That means we are doubting our intuition. We might think, who am I anyway to have this unique information, to have this novel information? So that makes us doubt if we're right. But deep down, we know that we're right. And this trait, it can even bleed into personality typing itself. From my experience, the INFJ, of all the personality types, is the most likely to doubt their personality type. Am I really an INFJ? I better take that test again. Developing self-confidence and self-trust, it's so important for us as INFJs. And that comes from looking at your successes and standing up for yourself just as much as you stand up for others. Number 2, sudden hibernation. INFJs, when they're in a social situation, they're usually pretty warm, they're inviting, they're kind. But it's wearing them out secretly. So the fact is that occasionally we have to withdraw from social situations unexpectedly. Now, this can happen when we feel overwhelmed by external stimuli because we're picking up feelings from everybody and it's exhausting. Or it could simply mean that we need alone time to recharge our batteries. We just get tired from these social situations and we have to restock our energy supplies. INFJs, they might disappear without warning. And sometimes it can really freak people out because you're there one minute and then you're out the side door the next minute. But you need that time to recharge because you need time inside, away from people, in order to restock your energy stores so that you can be ready to deal with the outside world again. Because let's face it, to us INFJs, the outside world can be a war zone. In fact, most INFJs, they can name a time in their lives, maybe a bullying workplace, or maybe sometime in high school where they were near getting PTSD from all the trauma. And it's real trauma too. While most people go through life and they don't notice the manipulative and abusive and toxic people around them, as INFJs, we see it all and we feel it all too. It really seems as if most people receive abuse from someone, and then the way that they deal with that is they go and they abuse someone else. That makes them feel better, and then they go on with life. That is not true for us INFJs. If we get mistreated, it is not going to make us feel better in any way to go and mistreat someone else. We're just not capable of living like that. Abuse from others, whether it's emotional, whether it's verbal, whether it's physical, it's literally death by 1,000 cuts to an INFJ. In the same way that someone could slowly be stung to death by a swarm of hornets, an INFJ in a bad environment will slowly succumb to the poison of the toxic people around them. So what's the solution? Get away. And it's a good solution too. Don't ever be afraid to hide away and recharge when you need to. Just make sure you get back out there from time to time. That's in order to keep your mental health secure. Now, staying in for too long, think weeks or months without going out, without interacting with people, that can cause us to fall into the dreaded NITI loop. I'll make a video about this soon. But suffice to say, as an INFJ, you do not need to be around abusive people. They are like poison to you. If this video is helping you, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the INFJ Circle. Number 3, symbolic collecting. Many INFJs, they like to collect objects with personal significance or symbolic value. These collections, they may include anything from vintage postcards to obscure trinkets, but each of them usually will carry a story or a memory that resonates deeply with the INFJ's inner world. So the fact that we collect these kinds of things, or that we may have these kinds of things in our lives, it really is a reminder of the INFJ's rich inner world, our emotional landscape, which is so deep and complex, deeper and more complex than any other personality type. Now, when I was first researching this list, I kind of found this one to be the most debatable at first. But after thinking back, I realized I do have several objects that I really care about. I also realized that I love to have an object that has a meaning, something that reflects my life motto or my individuality. One object that means a lot to me is a watch that my papa left to me, and another is a necklace that reads Luctor et emergo, which is Latin for I struggle and emerge. Finally, I have a tattoo that reads Nil Desperandum, which is Latin for never give up, and it's the motto of this channel. And for those of you who are newsletter subscribers, you already know that. What's up with me in Latin? Oh, if you aren't subscribed to my free weekly newsletter, I'd love to have you become a part of the family. The link is in the description of this video. Number 4, emotional alchemy. So what exactly is alchemy? It's basically the attempted transformation and conversion of things into other things. In the same way, the INFJ possesses a unique ability to transform their emotions into creative expression. That means when we're faced with these intense emotions, these intense feelings, we can channel these feelings into art, into writing, or into other forms of creative output. Now, this process allows the INFJ to transform their inner turmoil, really, into something beautiful and meaningful. Now, this can be very cathartic for the INFJ. It can feel really good to turn something painful into something beautiful. It also allows self-discovery, and I would argue that it also allows for innovation in the world. INFJs are the innovators of the world. They're the tip of the spear. They push the world forward, even when the world doesn't want to go, and that's why the world sometimes can react so negatively towards us. But INFJs, they can be great artists, they can be great writers, they can really produce things of beauty. But not all INFJs are artists. Some INFJs are into teaching, some are into being a great parent, some at working well at their respective jobs, and most importantly, helping people all along the way. One thing's certain though, they are going to bring a very unique perspective to whatever it is that they're doing. Now this is great. And if the uniqueness of the INFJ is accepted in the home, in the workplace, or in a relationship, they will offer great innovations and unique solutions to problems. But beware, this uniqueness is often looked at with envy. Other types can get angry at you for being able to see things from a unique perspective. And from my experience, this can result in the following: theft of ideas. Others will downright steal your innovations and let on like they came up with them. Anger and abuse. Others can turn on the INFJ and try to make their life miserable. Now, this can happen in families, this can happen in relationships, and especially in the workplace. Outcasting the INFJ. Others can work to make sure that the INFJ is left out of the group. Many types, they have the ability to fit in even if they have nothing else. So they can sometimes persuade the group or use power dynamics to make the INFJ an outcast among their peers. Number 5, intuitive rituals. INFJs are highly attuned to their intuition, and often they rely on their gut feelings or hunches to guide their decisions. Oh, and our gut? It's often right. And that's because we use both logic and emotion to come up with our predictions, despite the internet often labeling us as too emotional. As a result, us INFJs may develop quirky rituals, kind of like ritualistic patterns. In other words, we may say, if I don't do this, then things might not turn out correctly. It seems like we get in these patterns and then we do the thing the same way over and over. I remember one that I used to do. It's just slightly embarrassing, but when I took my shoes off, I would leave my right shoe slightly ahead of my left one. By the way, I did stop doing that, and now I just throw salt over my left shoulder.
Quick, toss some salt over your right shoulder.
Now, whether it's a premonition in a dream that causes you to change your morning routine, or maybe it's a lucky charm that you carry around everywhere, these rituals, they provide INFJs with a sense of comfort and security in an unpredictable world. So I told you my weird INFJ OCD habit. So if you have one, put that in the comments below. Now, these habits, while they're perhaps a bit unusual to some other types, they're all manifestations of the INFJ's rich inner world. And that rich inner world within the INFJ, it's deeper and more complex than those other people could ever imagine. Now, if you'd like to know how to spot an INFJ in the wild, consider watching this video next.